So, good afternoon, everybody. Buenas tardes, for those of you who speak Spanish. Welcome to the information session for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences at Western Washington University. Before we start with the formal part of the presentation, I want to give you a little bit of an outline of how what we will do in the next hour or so. First of all, I want to congratulate you all. This is an event for admitted students and for their families. So congratulations on being admitted to Western. And thank you for your interest in our college. Let me tell you how the presentation will work today. So we are going to have a formal section of the presentation where we'll share a PowerPoint presentation with you. Professor Mark Geisler, who's the Associate Dean for the college and a professor of English, is joining me in the event. And he will make sure that all the technical aspects of this hopefully go okay. He will also help me answering questions at the end. The formal section of the event will be the PowerPoint presentation and the information I will share with you around that. We will be recording that section of the event. In order to make sure that the recording is of as highest quality as possible, we have muted all your microphones and we have disabled your cameras. Once the formal section of the event and the recorded section of the event is over, we will open up the meeting for questions, either about questions about the PowerPoint presentation and general questions about the college, or specific questions about any of our programs. I will stay and answer any questions related to the college in general and about the PowerPoint presentation, and then Professor Geisler will remain with you to answer any specific questions about different programs. So hold your questions until the end. We will ask you to use the chat to ask those questions, because that will allow us to keep track of all questions and all participants who have questions more easily. So with that, let me now move on to our PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, Mark. So first of all, we are going to start with our mission and vision. And these are statements that students, faculty, and staff have collaborated in crafting in an effort to communicate how we envision ourselves and our role at the university and our role in the life and education of our students within the college. So let me first read the mission. And I won't give you like every piece of information. I won't read every piece of information that it's in the PowerPoint, but these first two slides, I do want to make sure that I read so that we all have an idea of what how we frame ourselves. The College of Humanities and Social Sciences serves the state of Washington by producing knowledge and engaging students in distinctive, diverse programs that develop their capacities as citizens and creators and collaborators in the workplace. Emerging from a vibrant liberal arts and sciences core, CHSS is a key pillar supporting the cultural and intellectual life of the university via collaborative learning environments that foster individual, social, cultural, creative, and scientific exploration. Students, faculty, and staff engage in research, service, and creative activity to promote lifelong, engaged learning that contributes to equitable, just, and sustainable communities. Members of the CHSS community critically examine their world and themselves, embrace divergent perspectives, and devise innovative solutions to critical societal concerns. We consider the ethical implications of our actions and communicate effectively in our professional and public lives. And let's now go to our vision. Our vision, much shorter, is as follows. As an integral part of the liberal arts and sciences mission at Western Washington University, the College of Humanities and Social Sciences promotes collaborative learning, critical inquiry into diverse human experiences, and excellence in scholarly and creative activity. And as you see, if there is a theme that keeps popping up in both our mission and our vision, is first of all our key role and center point in the liberal arts and sciences mission at Western Washington University. I'm sure that by now, if you've read any materials regarding Western, which I know you have since you've been admitted, you will notice that, a common thread is that idea of a liberal arts and sciences university. And what that means is that when you come to Western, you will certainly study whatever major and whatever discipline you find your calling in and you have an interest in. But our goal is to give you a strong general education base and to allow for opportunities for you to explore different disciplines, different areas of study as you come into Western, to help you determine and decide what it is that you want to pursue, but also so that you become more informed citizens of Washington State, the US and the world as well. The other key elements are those ideas of collaboration, critical inquiry, critical thinking, and creative activity. Mark, let's go to the next slide. So what is the College of Humanities and Social Sciences? The College of Humanities and Social Sciences is the largest college at Western, both in terms of the number of majors we produce, the number of faculty that we house, the number of departments that we have. So this is a list of the departments that are housed within CHSS. Each department has sometimes one major, sometimes multiple majors within each one of them. So it starts to give you an idea of what areas of study you could pursue within the college. So as our name indicates, we are the College of Humanities and also of Social Sciences. Within the humanities, we have 7 departments: communication studies, English, history, journalism, modern and classical languages, liberal studies, now called global humanities and religions, and philosophy. Within the social sciences, we have anthropology, communication sciences and disorders, health and human development, linguistics, political science, psychology, and sociology. And besides this department, we also have 2 interdisciplinary programs. These are programs each with its own major, and they feed both from the humanities side and from the social science side of the college. So the interdisciplinary programs are East Asian Studies and Women, Gender, and Sexuality Studies. As I said, I start seeing activity in the chat. We will go over all those questions at the end. Some of your specific interests you will see once I tell you which majors are within each of these departments. So Mark, let's go to the next slide. So by the numbers, I just told you we're the biggest college at Western. We have a little bit over 4,000 majors within the college, and that's about 35% of the total number of majors at Western. We grant over 1,500 degrees every year. You know, I think right now for you, graduation probably seems like a long ways away, and yet you will graduate one day, and during the graduation ceremony, you will see somebody reading out loud many names of graduates. That will be the Dean of CHSS. So that will be me, the one with the biggest list of names. And we have about 300 faculty members, of which 193 are tenured or tenure track. And that's about 30% of the total number of faculty at Western. All our tenured and tenure track faculty remain active in teaching and in their research, and they all hold PhDs. Let's continue, Mark, to the next slide. I won't go into the research in detail, but this is to give you an idea. I just told you that our faculty are very active, very devoted, very dedicated to teaching. They also have to remain active in their research. They have to remain updated in their fields. The nice thing about Western is that as faculty remain active in their fields, they also seek ways to collaborate with our students and with our undergraduate students, not just graduate students. So if you look at the research activity, I'll just highlight a couple of items. The first one is the second bullet point. Of the 146 referee journal articles that our faculty published last year, 59 of them included student co-authors. the last bullet point in the research section, you will see that of the 214 conference papers that our faculty presented last year, 46 of them had students listed as co-authors. And this really gives you an indication of how deeply involved our undergraduate students get to be in research projects with our faculty if they so wish. At the very end of this presentation, I'll talk a little bit about what makes Western special. Of course, this is subjective, it's my opinion, but I have been at Western for a long time, so I think it counts for something at least. And we would go back to this idea of close faculty and student collaboration in research projects. Another thing that I think distinguishes Western and definitely distinguishes our college is the amount of community service hours and community service efforts that our students are involved in through their coursework. So just last year, in academic year 2018-19, our students contributed with 118,070 hours of community service in over 80 organizations, organizations that are present locally in Bellingham, in the state, nationwide, and some of them even internationally. So that again gives you an idea of how deeply involved and engaged we are within our communities through the classwork that you do at Western. Mark, let's go to the next slide. I again won't go through all of this information in detail. Another thing that I think makes Western special is our students. And that means you, the students that get admitted and eventually come to Western. One of the things that I always highlight in this presentation, I remember quite distinctly my campus interview. So when I interviewed for a job, I started at Western in 2002. So that's almost what, almost 18 years ago, as an assistant professor teaching in the languages department. I taught Spanish language, Spanish literature, linguistics. And the one thing that really struck me during my campus interview was that during my teaching demonstration, so I taught a class as part of the interview, the students were so engaged. It was so easy to teach them. It wasn't a struggle to get them to speak Spanish, if you can imagine. It's hard enough to speak in your own language in a class, much less in a language that is not your own. But I was just amazed at how enthusiastic, how willing to learn they were. And it was one of the things that sold me on Western. I had not had an experience like that in any other campus that I had interviewed in. And that's something that still strikes me to this day. Western students are special, in my opinion. They are incredibly eager to learn, they're curious, and they're willing to go the extra mile. They're willing to be pushed to achieve more. And these honors and awards give you an idea of how those that eagerness to work and to excel is recognized in a variety of ways, nationally and internationally again. Mark, let's go to the next slide. So what can I major in? This is the slide that you are all waiting for. Am I in the right presentation? Did I show up for the right college? So this is not an exhaustive list of all our majors, but it should give you an idea of what each department offers. And this slide, I will go through the whole thing to make sure that you have an idea. So in the anthropology department, for example, you can major in anthropology, but they also have a combined anthropology biology degree, either a BA or a BS. Many students who are interested in allied health professions and going to medical school, going into nursing, etc., go into this particular major, for example. We also have the communication studies department. In the communication studies department, you can major in communications. It's a BA. The department also houses the communications club and the debate team, which is an award-winning team here at Western. And all students, not just communication studies students, can participate in that debate team. In the Communication Sciences and Disorders department, students often take classes in this department in preparation for a graduate degree in speech language pathology and audiology. But any student, even if they're not thinking of pursuing a graduate degree in speech pathology or a clinical doctorate in audiology can pursue this major. Just like any other of our other majors, it will give you important abilities and skills, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. In the English department, you can pursue a major in literature and a major in creative writing. Health and Human Development is the department that houses the kinesiology and physical education programs. It also houses public health and the recreation management and leadership major. History, you can get a major in history and also history and social studies, which typically people take in preparation for a teaching endorsement. In the journalism department, they have 3 tracks. One is news editorial, one is public relations, and the other one is visual journalism. In liberal studies, now Department of Global Humanities and Religions, you can get a BA focused in either the humanities or in religions within the department. Linguistics has the linguistics BA. Modern and classical languages, you can major in Chinese, French, German, Japanese, and Spanish, and they have other languages for that include minors as well. Philosophy, you can pursue a philosophy BA. In political science, they have the political science BA. They also have a political science social studies BA, an economics and political science BA. And in collaboration with philosophy and with the economics department, they have a politics, philosophy, and economics BA. Psychology, you have a psychology BA. Sociology, you have the sociology BA. And we also have a behavioral neuroscience major, is housed within the psychology department. We have an East Asian studies major and a women, gender, sexuality studies major as well. And many of these programs also house graduate programs in case you were interested in a master's degree after you finish your undergraduate degree. And the Communications and Sciences and Disorders Department has a doctoral program in audiology, a clinical doctorate program. Mark, let's go to the next slide. All right. So one of the things that I really always make a point in emphasizing in this presentation is the virtues and the importance of study abroad. I know that many of you, if you're not thinking of studying a language, you may not be thinking of study abroad as one of the things that you want to pursue during your college education. And I would really encourage you to think about it. Often when people think of study abroad, they think of kind of the limitations or the obstacles that might make it hard to study abroad. Maybe you think that it will delay you in your graduation plans, or maybe you think it's just too expensive. I will just tell you, consider it and do your research. We work with many third-party provider programs around the world that allow you to go in a study abroad program, essentially anywhere in the world, to study almost anything that you want. You have to make sure that you go through a program that it's approved by Western. We have advisors, we have a study abroad office that helps with that. There are study abroad programs all across the spectrum in terms of cost. And you'll be surprised how you can get quite a few credits, just as many as if you were on campus, for not a lot more money that it would cost for you to be on campus if you take into account room and board, etc. Financial aid can be applied to study abroad. We have scholarships and grants that support study abroad. And the benefits that you will get out of an experience like this are amazing. They are lifelong learning experiences. They are life-changing experiences. I can tell you that when I started college, and you probably can tell that I have an accent. So I was born in Spain and I went to college in Spain, and I never thought that I would get to study abroad. And then I did, I looked for ways in which it was financially possible for me and for my family to be able to do it through scholarships and through grants. And it was life-changing. I can say that I wouldn't be where I am if I hadn't pursued, and I wouldn't be who I am if I hadn't pursued those opportunities. And I think if you talk to anybody who has studied abroad, they would say the same thing. It will change who you are for the better. It will make you a stronger, more well-rounded, and more fearless, I guess, individual. So again, I won't talk about this more because I realize it's the thing that I've talked about the most, but I just really want to communicate to you what a life-changing experience to study abroad is, and it can be for you. Just look into it. Mark, let's go to the next slide. So why the programs in CHSS? So this is a slide that I include for all of you, the students in the audience, even if today I can't see your faces, and for the parents as well. Often people will think, well, I love history, or I love English, or I love French, or I love sociology, but is there a job that it's a French job or a history job? Any and all of our majors will provide you with abilities and skills that are very much in the mind of employers, where they're looking for employees. And that's why I include this slide. So this is a list of the employers' top priorities for student learning outcomes in college. So when we interview employers and we ask them, what are the things that you want students to come out with after a college education? This is what they tell us. They tell us that they want effective oral and written communication. 89% of employers highlight this. They want critical thinking and analytical reasoning. They want knowledge and skills applied to real world settings. They want students to be able to analyze and solve complex problems, connect choices and actions to ethical decisions. They want teamwork skills. They want the ability to be creative and innovative. And they also want concepts developments in science and technology. But there are so many other skills and abilities that they look for. And these are all skills and abilities that will be honed, nurtured, and imprinted in you as you study in any of our majors. These will make you marketable and attractive employees. Mark, let's go to the next slide. So what do our graduates do? And I'll self-disclose and say that, of course, I'm including in this slide our most successful and some of them even famous alumni. And all those other people that are working in a myriad, in a variety of professions, in banks, in nonprofits, in Amazon, in Boeing, Microsoft, they don't come to the list. But that's where many, many, many of our graduates end. But we have made graduates such as Doug Macy, for example. He got a BA in sociology and Spanish with a minor in psychology. And he's a professor of sociology at Princeton University. Amy Harder, she did a BA in journalism. She's an energy reporter for Axios. Michael Christopher Brown, he did a BA in psychology, and he's now a photographer and a photojournalist, and a regular contributor to the New York Times Magazine, to Time, to National Geographic. Nick Harmer, he had an English BA. He completed an English BA at Western, and some of you may know, he's a founding member of Death Cab for Cutie. He was on campus about a year ago this time, and he couldn't stop talking about how defining his English BA had been in his life, and how it had helped him in his future success. Jesse Moore got a BA in political science. He's a former associate director of public engagement at the Obama White House, and he's a founder and principal consultant of Common Threat Strategies. Karen Freeman got a BA in German. She's a vice president of finance for commercial aviation services for Boeing Commercial Airplanes. Hobby Darling got a history BA. He's a former CEO of Skull Candy. I'm sure you've seen these little earphones in the supermarket when you're trying to exit. And he's now a senior executive at Logitech. And Ijeoma Oluo, for example, BA in political science. She's a freelance writer and speaker and author of the New York Times best-selling book, So You Want to Talk About Race. And you won't remember any of these names, but what I want to highlight is how different degrees in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences have led all these people in very different and successful paths. Mark, let's go to the last slide. So the last slide, why Western? You know, you applied to Western, you've been admitted into Western. I know that there is something about us that called your mind and your heart and why you want to come here. But let me tell you why I think Western is different. And let me tell you why I think we provide our students an outstanding education. We talked at the beginning about the opportunities that our undergraduate students, and again, I want to emphasize that I'm talking about undergraduate students and non-graduate students. There are many universities in which graduate students have an opportunity to engage in research projects with their faculty. It is not that common, however, that undergraduate students are as deeply involved in the research enterprise and in research collaboration with faculty as they are here at Western. Western is big enough. You know, we are 16,000, we are at 16,000 students, so we're not a small college, but we are small enough that all of our courses, all of our classes are taught by professors, the great majority of them with doctoral degrees, all of them with a deep love for teaching and a deep commitment for undergraduate education. They actually really care about you all. They enjoy teaching your classes. They enjoy sitting with you all in their office hours and trying to help you grow as an individual and as a student. Our deep involvement in community work also makes us, I think, separates us from other universities. It has been, for many years, kind of a mark of pride or a badge of pride at Western, how many of our courses include community involvement on the part of our students. And that creates opportunities to better know the community, to improve, make a positive impact in the community, but also to make connections looking at post-graduation times. I think all of that makes Western a very special place. And with this, the formal part of this presentation is over. We are going to stop the recording for those people who joined us in not live today, but rather watching the recording. To all of you that are joining us